Arsenal Fan TV here. Good to be here in an international week, and I thought to myself, let me catch up with my man here, Bully.
All right, Robbie. How you doing?
Find out how he's feeling at the moment about Arsenal. I mean, after that turbulent first game against Aston Villa that I'm sure you remember, you was pretty angry after that game.
Yeah.
A lot of fans are very angry, but since then, I mean, apart from last week against Manchester United, where, first defeat for a while, but it's been going really well. I just want to find out from you, what you thought of the season so far?
I think they probably did need to kick up the backside on the first game. Again, I didn't think we played that badly that day. There was a few bad decisions that day for the fact of taking letting them play on, take the shot, and then just because they didn't score, put it on the penalty spot, and then the Koscielny sending off and the other penalty. So, but since then, they all seem to have got together and gelled really well. Flamini coming in, Ozil coming in as well. They both seem to have just slotted straight in. Flamini, it's like he never went. Hopefully it'll be like the season he was. He played at left back when Cashley Cole was injured.
Did you think, Flamini, because he's really surprised me. Did you think that Flamini would be able to come in and do as well as he's done? I mean, he's literally just come straight in, and from the first game he came in, he's literally become like a leader on that pitch. He's driven the team on. He's been really strong in front of that back four. Did you think when we decided to take him on that he would do that well?
Well, I personally think that we did the dirty on him all those years ago when we put Cashley straight in at the Champions League final. He'd made that his spot all season, and the most improved player by far that season. And we should have left him in there. So. Of course, a few years have gone by. You don't think that players are going to come back and still be good, apart from Keogh, right? I was surprised he still had as much fight in him as he did back then. But nice to see. He's still a gooner. Every player that ever leaves us always leaves us as an Arsenal fan.
Well,
most of them. I'm
Ashley Cole.
Van
Persie, apparently, he's falling out in love with Arsenal, so he says.
But most of the greats.
We'll do it like that. And, I mean, there's been certain players, I think, that have been absolutely players that you didn't really expect. Flamini's one of them. I think Rosicky as well. There's been another player that, is like an unsung hero. He's played out of his skin. Have you been surprised by some of these players, the way in which they've really risen to the challenge?
You could see Rosicky, the end of last season, was starting to come back into his old form again. And I think with the re-emergence of Ramsey as well this season, getting that psychological chip off of his shoulder and off his back. I think the same with Rosicky, because he had a long-term injury and he still has a little bit of niggles, I think, with his back and that. But
and to be fair to you, I remember interviewing a lot of times last season, you always said, Aaron Ramsey, you always said that you thought if he can get over the sort of psychological pain of that injury, that he'll be all right. And he's been amazing, hasn't he? Player of the season so far, not just for Arsenal, in the Premier League.
Oh, definitely. I think Jack might have a little bit of that as well. Maybe he should start wearing some of the old thicker shin pads so that they've got rubber and the old ankle caps, bone caps as well. Like that way, at least give him a chance to play without suffering from getting knocked and it all his ankle keep inflaming up. That's I think what happens with the RB a lot of the time. But Scotch tape doesn't protect from kicks.
Now, we've been doing brilliant. It's been absolutely brilliant, but a lot of the pundits out there still not sure about Arsenal. They're saying we ain't played anybody. As soon as they first of all they said November was going to be a really tough month, which it is tough fixtures. We still got Southampton to come as well, of course. And now they're saying December is a tough month. Chelsea, Man City. I mean, but from what have you seen of a team so far? Do you think this is a team that can definitely do something this year? Definitely challenge for the title?
I feel we can challenge, yeah. As long as we keep working together, talking, covering each other, So when a player goes up, make sure there's somebody covering. The weekend, Koscielny was playing in Mertesacker's place. We've been doing really well with Mertesacker there, Koscielny on the left. Of course, they had to swap over. Then you get the confusion with the zonal marking and that, and then you end up having Van Persie come running through unchallenged. Whereas if Mertesacker had been there, he would have stopped him, definitely. So we need somebody to actually cover for Mertesacker. Rather than moving Koscielny over to the right. He's definitely better on the left-hand side. But yeah, as long as we keep on fighting, we can do something, I think.
And players, what a lot of people missed the point on, a lot of players to come back. Theo Walcott, Lucas Podolski, Oxlade-Chamberlain, all these players still got to come back in. Now, with those players coming back in, surely that's going to strengthen us a lot. And, you know, it's looking all positive at the moment.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot more competition for places once they all come back. And a lot of players all of similar strengths as well. So keeps everybody on their toes rather than, as it was before, the second string, so to speak. They used to think, oh, it don't matter what I do, whether I have a really good game, I'm not going to be on the team sheet as soon as they come back. And they don't really try. They're just happy to take the money, so it seems. Has
that been one of the keys, Bully? The fact that the dead wood, on the whole, is gone. You know, those players, like you said, that just used to... They came in just for coming in's sake, but they never really strengthened the team. They never really made that great effort. A lot of those players have been moved on, and now we seem to have a solid squad.
Yeah, pretty much most of the deadwood has been gone. There's one that's still, the jury's still out on at the moment.
I think I know you're talking about Nicholas Bentner.
Oh, Twinkle
I mean,
Toes.
what's your views on Nicholas Bentner? I mean, he's only had in fairness to him, he's only had a couple of games in which he's come in on. He had that game against Chelsea where he was pretty poor in that game, and then he came on at the end against Manchester United. I mean, I think he's been saying that he would like to have a run in the team. Does he deserve a run? Do we keep hold of Nicholas Bentner in January, or do we have to go out there and get ourselves a striker?
No, we need to get ourselves a striker. He keeps saying he wants to run, he wants to do this, he wants to do that. He's got to actually move towards the ball and actually try and fight for the ball. Not worry about losing his hairband or breaking his nails. Against Chelsea, he was like, oh.
I know you like a hard player. You don't like a little fairy, namby-pamby type. You like a player that's in there, right?
Old boy, old style.
Old school.
Old school.
And I'm going to ask you this. If you're looking at Arsenal so far this season, and you're going to give Arsenal so far, marks out of 10, what would your mark out of 10 be for Arsenal so far this season?
8.5, 9, I would say.
8.5, 9.
Yeah.
So doing very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple of little slips. Dortmund at home, West Brom. Against United at the weekend, we seemed to lack any oomph, but it seems afterwards that maybe they were suffering the effects of this flu thing that's been going around the whole country.
But 8.5, 9.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Bully, I've got a few questions here.
Rightio.
Right, for you. Right, we've got some people to ask some questions. Right.
Nobody asking if that's me on Twitter, is it?
Yeah, now you just clear that up because there's a lot of I keep seeing bullies appearing on Twitter. Now you told me you don't do Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter or Facebook. I left school 30 odd years ago. I don't need to go back into kindergarten. Wouldn't have enough time in the day to be doing the work as well and everything else.
So Bully is not on Twitter, all right? And he'll let you know when he...
If these people want to be me, they can take the pain I suffer from the accidents by all means.
Right, listen, we're going to ask a few questions here. Mohammed says, what's your favourite band?
Iron Maiden,
Iron Maiden.
AC/DC, both
I
very much a
figured
level.
like your T-shirts and that you're into stuff like that. Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Iron Maiden, favourite band, right? Nathan says, do you think Benzema is the answer as our striker backup problem, or do we need a different type of striker like say a Suarez? I mean, do we go back in for Suarez? I know you weren't really a fan of us getting Suarez in the first place, was it?
I don't think Liverpool will sell him again.
No.
Like, if they're still up there in January, in a chance for getting in the Champions League, Suarez is going to buckle down and he won't be making a song and dance. If they start dropping away, then he might. Yeah, he's all right, but I don't know. Benzema would be a good bet. I think Lewandowski, especially now that he's come out and said he hasn't signed the pre-contract agreement with Bayern.
And, you know, if we got Lewandowski, he would be probably about 20 million because he's only got about, say, 15 to 20 million.
Clause 7 million.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, because he hasn't got long left. He's only got like 6 months left. Yeah. His wages would be high. But do you think it's worth going out there again and spending big to bring a player of that quality in?
Yeah, maybe. It could work out good. We've got Podolski that could come in and maybe put him up front. But Benzema, we should have done the deal with Higuain, really.
Yeah.
And not worried about the odd bit in the first place. Benzema or Lewandowski, I think, rather than Suarez. Okay.
Daniel Payne says, do you think that Frimpong will ever make a comeback at Arsenal? And if he does, how good could he be in the future? Mr. Dench. He always seems to be on the bench, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. Whether it's that he needs to knuckle down a little bit more and take more on board and training and what have you, I don't know. Do you think? Yeah. He's got to leave the famousness until do it all on the pitch. Yeah. Anything that comes with it will come with it.
I'm going to ask you that. Should he come off of Twitter, get rid of all of the dense stuff and all that, leave that and just concentrate 100% on football? Because it does seem somehow to be sort of clouding him. He's got the talent, but
it's easy to get led down the wrong path. Like when you've got so many people like all like saying this, saying that, and I'll come and do this, and like that's one of the reasons why I don't go on Twitter, because I'd feel bad not being able to answer everybody. So I just wouldn't have the time.
Yeah.
So he needs to concentrate on his football. He's a young lad. That will come in later life, all that sort of thing.
Great. Steph says here, can you ask Bully why he's always moaning about referees? It makes us look like sore losers.
You
do moan a lot about referees.
I do. I see a lot. I see a lot of things out there where it's the players just fall over. It's a lot to do with the players really for conning the refs in the first place. Basically,
I mean, you had that terrible one at Chelsea the other day. I mean, I was thinking to myself, that game at Chelsea, if that had been say it was us.
Yeah,
but you'd have probably wanted to assassinate the referee after that.
But it turns out the referee is an Aston Villa supporter. So why is he refereeing a West Brom game? Any game around there, the Black Country lot shouldn't be.
What do you think of the standard of referees at the moment in England?
It's not as good as it used to be. I don't think, but maybe that's because the TV's highlighting where the players are making the dives and all that. Like Suarez for Liverpool, first time he got into the box, he tried to dive, but realised the player was too far behind him to actually make it look like he'd been fouled. So they're not consistent enough either. Like they seem to favour certain teams sometimes, or feel a little bit intimidated by them.
I mean, we found out since with Fergie that half of these referees were his mates. They were ringing him up personally and stuff like that. I mean, is that the integrity of a referee affected by doing something like that? Or?
The referee should have no real contact with the players. Shouldn't be like standing there chatting, we'll be going out for a beer or whatever afterwards, like we'll meet you up. When I used to play, all right, only amateur, like, but the only time the referee you spoke to the referee was if he was booking you or like telling you not to move for goal kick, for penalty. Like.
Okay, we've got Arsenal Shots here. He says, do you still have the Van Persie shirt that you got from the Chelsea game?
Yes, I do.
Why? You heard what he said last week. He said that he doesn't like Arsenal. Well, he's literally saying he doesn't like Arsenal anymore. Is it? I mean, what did you think?
I haven't actually seen it. Is that his own words, or
what did you think last week? This whole celebration thing, right? Now, first time when he played against us, he didn't celebrate. But last week, he seemed to make a point of really celebrating. Now, is that fair play? We sing a lot of songs about him, not very nice and things like that. Is that fair play?
We'd have probably been better off not actually singing the songs about him in the game that we're playing. Because it just tends to fire him up sometimes. And probably was his way of getting back when they're all singing like that. But he's still part of our history.
Still part of the history, so you still got a shirt, yeah? Okay. Omar Hamill says, what was your first Arsenal game that you went to? What was the first Arsenal game that you went to?
West Ham.
Against West Ham?
Yeah. And I actually took my daughter to her first game was West Ham as well.
Did we win?
We didn't on mine, but my first game, but we did on hers.
If we didn't win, I know that's a long time ago.
Yeah, we finished 16th in my first season of going to Highbury.
Do I ask you what year that was?
74.
Wow. Well, you don't look that old.
I hit 50 the end of the season.
Right, and the last one I'm going to ask you, by the way, there's been hundreds of people sending through questions to ask. We can go on all day, but I could just pick a few out. This person says, he's called Bob A. He says, ask Bully, does he have earrings on any other part of his body? I didn't know if I wanted to ask that, actually.
Yes, I do. Yes.
I ain't going to ask you where. Some things, too much information, mate. You've got to keep some of the things private. Bully, it's been great catching up with you, mate. And you've given us 8.5, 9 for the season so far. I just want to ask you now, what do we have to do to kick on and win this thing this year? Win the Premier League. I mean, it's been so long since we've done it. You've seen all the other teams around us. What do we need to do, and who are the main threats going to be? Where the main threats going to come from regarding the other teams?
Well, Man United always tend to come strong after Christmas anyway. Chelsea are having a bit of an indifferent, bit of stuttering season so far. Man City aren't doing so well away from home, but doing all right at home. Liverpool were a surprise this season, and Southampton definitely. If they still up there after Christmas, they could maybe do something. So I feel we can. We've just not got to worry about it. Excuse me. And think about it too much. Just get out there, play the game, be strong, tackle hard. If in doubt, put the ball out. Get back and face, and don't let anybody run 10 to 20 yards without somebody being in his face. Make them work for it rather than just standing off of them like we did for Van Persie's goal at the weekend.
Okay, Bully, it's always a pleasure.
And you,
I'm sure we'll catch up sort of mid-season, and hopefully you'll still be giving us like an 8, 9 out of 10.
Hopefully, end of the season, it'll be 10 out of 10.